Aren't you supposed to read this too, Laura?
I'm trying to just do one other thing.
Oh, okay.
But yes, thank you. I'm glad you can see it.
Not a problem.
You want to read it? Go ahead.
I knew you were going to do that.
Go ahead.
Let's see if I can see it all. Okay. The tribe is a group of like-minded people who have more in common than they have differences. Tribe Talk is a dialogue with coaches to enhance communications and help develop an improvement culture, sharing experiences and ideas for the betterment of the tribe. This is an independent event, not sponsored by any organization, regardless of who participates. The one simple motive is improvement of the tribe and our ability to create responsible thinking motorcyclists with good judgment. Tell them to put a 2 in there, will you?
Awesome, Rod. Nicely done. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Next slide, please.
I'm trying. I can't get it to go. Something crazy is happening. Okay, well, I give up. Thank you for being here, everybody. Sorry, I'm technically challenged, and I'm going to turn it over to John.
Okay, well, thank you. Those of you who don't know me, I'm a rider coach in the St. Louis, Missouri area. And we're going to have, I'll show you a little bit about what we're doing to promote classes in the St. Louis area. And I'm glad to see Michael Davis is here because he was a big part in some of the things we're doing. So let me see if I can share my screen and get a little PowerPoint going here, and we'll start the discussion.
John, you're muted. John, you're muted. Laura, can you unmute him?
How about that? Can you hear me now?
Much better. Yeah,
okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I didn't realize when I tried to use my space bar like I was doing before to unmute, it starts doing funny things here. So I just had to click the unmute. Okay, so thanks. So basically I thought what we might do as a rough outline of how we want to proceed, we'll talk about what we do at some events, maybe talk about outreach program where we go out, try and promote to different areas, talk about maybe some things we do in the classroom, demonstrations, I don't know, it's just an area where some other ideas, and some other ideas people may have. So basically, this was my first exposure to promoting motorcycle events. We want to show you this for a couple of reasons. One, the idea of you want to take people along with you. You want to have a partner. And two, to introduce you to Jeff, which is the tall guy on the left-hand side there. When I talk about Jeff, you'll know who I'm talking about here. But this was the first time I was exposed to it. And I thought, well, it's okay, but maybe we can do better. So talking about some of the different areas, some of the different events where we might be promoting our classes. We've done it at bike shows, where we have a large show here in St. Louis that's a bike dealer show, which has since been merged in with the car dealers show. So the bike and car dealers draws a lot of people. We've done it at bike nights. We have a permanent setup. We leave with the people at Cycle Gear that we can bring out and set up, or they'll even set it up if we're not there. Talk about some things we do at dealers, at bike shops, open houses, safety days. At the Harley dealer, we've done ladies' garage parties and similar events. So there's a number of things there. We've also done corporate safety fairs. That first picture I showed you, that was at a corporate safety fair, which was on a weekend. And those kind of events, we talk about motorcycle safety, but we also talk about motorcycle awareness. If we're at some of these events where a lot of people aren't interested in motorcycles necessarily, but they're at a safety event, so we promote the awareness aspect. We've done some partner events where we partner with the Missouri Department of Transportation. Jeff and Carol and I, you've probably seen Carol on some of the other tribe talks, we belong to the Coalition for Roadway Safety. We meet at the regional meetings here and participate in that. One of the other things we've done is we made up our own event to promote it. We found out from one of the restaurant owners here in town that they used to have a board track across the street from their restaurant back in the early 1900s. And that restaurant was there during the days of the board track. Now, this person was not a motorcycle rider, but he was a car enthusiast, and so they're also interested in it. So we started doing a board track night we do every couple of years, where we talk about board track racing in St. Louis, but it also gives us a chance to get motorcycle riders in and promote some of the classes of them. So with that in mind, what are some other kind of events that you people might participate in that you've promoted classes at?
We've done tattoo shows, which actually we got invited to. There was a big tattoo show a couple times at the Armory in Utica, and we were offered table space there for free, so we took that right up. It seemed like a good idea. And also at swap meets.
That's a couple of good ideas. I never thought about tattoo shows, but certainly swap meets, that's another big thing that's popular here. We haven't tried that. Good idea. Anyone else have some other places other types of events that they've promoted the motorcycle safety at? Well, let's go on then. So here's that same event that you saw on the first slide. This is 2 years later. They do the event every 2 years. This is what we did for our booth the next time around. We thought, yeah, a table with some brochures on it is nice, but maybe this will get a little more people in there. You can see we've got one of the training motorcycles there, and you can see hidden on the other side is one of the scooters we have. We had T-shirts and other giveaway items that we got from MoDOT. This event is for the electric utility company here in town. They put it on. It's a one-day event. They put it on a weekend, and they draw 7,000 employees and their families. So it's kind of a big event. We get to talk to a lot of people there. There's Carol in the background. Here's another one of the corporate events we've done. The Macy's department store had a big distribution center and credit office here in town. So we would go out there and they would have a safety fair they'd hold during the day, during their work day. People would come in on their break time or lunchtime. We'd talk to them both about awareness and we'd talk to them about motorcycle safety classes. Here again, we have some of the giveaways. You can see here, we got the Watch for Motorcycle signs, the magnetic bumper stickers. And this is one from the St. Louis Motorcycle Show. Here, the state program has a couple of smart trainers, so we brought the smart trainers out. And you can see it's hidden here. Now, I don't know if this is you, Dennis, or not, but there's a person on the smart trainer. But what we also did is we had the same thing duplicated here on the 40-inch TV screen. That way, other people can see what's going on, and we can talk about it a little bit. If the person was shy about that, we have two smart trainers there. They could be on the other smart trainer that wasn't on the big screen. Here's another time we were getting a little bigger here in the motorcycle show. We started out with a 10x10 booth the first year that we got for free. Now we're up to, they gave us some more space here for a 40-foot by 20-foot booth, I think it was. But we brought the skid bike out. We have one of the KTM motorcycles on the skid bike frame. And right in this area in the background here is where they did demos. They had a stunt team doing demos. Well, in between the stunt team, Ray Pierce, who's our program administrator now, would take the bike out there and do some demonstrations on that. That drew a lot of people from the crowd. So we were able to draw a few people in there. You'll also notice here, we've got the 40-inch TV screen hanging here. I don't know if you can see it real well, but that's Brittany Morrow right there doing one of her videos. But we had a loop of different short videos, motorcycle safety, motorcycle awareness. We also had some things in there where we had one of the classes that we had done where we had shot some drone footage. We were out practicing for ultimate bike bonding one day, and Carol's husband, Bob, was good enough to go out and shoot some footage. And we didn't have a particular purpose. He was just getting familiar with the drone and what we were doing. And we ended up taking that footage and spliced it all together, put it through a program, did some zooms and follows and whatnot, and ended up putting a little thing on. We could demo what ultimate bike bonding looked like. So that was popular with people there. But you see our basic setup there. We have a 2x6 wire grid displays that we got from a local store supplier here. And those pieces can be connected together in multiple configurations. We use those to hold the brochures, the holders, the bins, the shelves. Relatively inexpensive, pretty sturdy. The only drawback we have there is they're pretty heavy. We store those in the container with our motorcycles. But you can see here where we put them in a little wavy shaped wall, or we got freestanding towers. We connect enough pieces together here. It makes the stand for that holds our TV. Matter of fact, we got a piece across the top to make that a little more sturdy. But basically, that's how we do our displays that we use. The pictures on our display, we use a 20x30 poster. They're inkjet printed at Costco, 10, 12 bucks a piece, pretty reasonable. We mount them on a foam board, which happens to come in the 20x30 size, which is nice, so we don't have to do any cutting or anything. We can attach them to them. And that's what all the signs are here that we've done. You can see we got signs here for motorcycle safety, motorcycle awareness. We've got an assortment of signs depending on the event, which ones we'll use. We've also tried using hanging tags, handlebar hanging tags. So we made this one up. We'd print this double-sided and cut it out and hang it on the handlebars. We've also gone to get something that maybe get the kids a little more drawn in with it. We're using the QR codes. We start putting the QR codes on our posters, put it on the tag here, where if they use their camera on their smartphone, they can go right to the registration link to sign up for the class. Some other things like we've done, like we talked about, we've used the Smart Trainer in the demo. We've used Skid Bike. We use videos of classes. We have never used the Fatal Vision goggles yet, but that's one thing that was suggested to us. Every time before we do this motorcycle show, I'll call out to Ken Glazer at MSF, talk to him, see what's going on. And he'd said that they'd used that before, and that's been pretty effective. So there's some other activities that you've done at these various events, some things that you've done to help draw the crowd in.
Depending on how much space is available, you can also do the peripheral vision activity.
That's a good one. Yeah, that would be a good display. Sometimes we have a good amount of space. Sometimes we don't, but that and the Fatal Vision one both take a little bit of space, but certainly one year we had it. Well, then let's talk about some of the outreach things we're doing. So we're talking about going around, visiting the dealers, putting up brochure holders there, talking to motorcycle clubs. We've done the host an event presentation at motorcycle clubs. You'd be surprised that some of these clubs where Dennis and I might be the younger guys there, where we did the seasoned rider presentation. And some of these people were a little surprised when we did some of the things like the ruler drop or the number hunt or some of those kind of activities that are in the kit. They didn't realize quite what their skills were. One of the things that we've been pushing for years, and we finally were successful at it, at the local hog chapter, we now have them do a safety weekend, and they have it actually put on their official activities calendar as one of their official activities for the weekend, where we'd attempt to do 2 classes on Saturday, 2 classes on Sunday, do bike bonding, ultimate bike bonding, ARC, or BRC2, whichever they want. That was pretty successful. So Also, that's nice thing about that is we let them handle everything. They just handle all the registration, all the signups and everything, and they deal with collecting all the money. So that worked out well in this case. Matter of fact, the video we shot, the director of the hog chapter was in the video did for ultimate bike bonding. So he's a big proponent of it. Some of the other things we've done, we've worked with insurance agents. Some of the insurance companies that offer a discount for classes, we try and get them involved. I don't know if they're attuned to that or not, because obviously the more discounts they give, the less money they make, but it's one way to help draw business. Partner meeting presentations. We've done presentations at the Coalition of Roadway Safety. Matter of fact, they'll call us now because they know if they have an event going on, and a safety event, they'll offer us to share some of their booth space. We've also had an opportunity to do a thing where the local office of MoDOT was doing a lunch and learn program where they have their employees come in during lunchtime. We do a short presentation for them. That went over well. A lot of people have freebie magazines in the area. Thunder Roads, Full Throttle, some of the others that have different state versions. Well, we got to the person here who does the local Thunder Roads magazine. We've been able to get write up an article, get it published in the magazine a couple of times, different safety events. One of the other things we've done back in the days when Michael Davis was our program administrator here in Missouri, we were doing a 3-wheel RCP class. And I was actually a student in the class, not in the RCP, but a student that the RCP candidates were teaching. I came out there and I got a chance to ride one of the 3-wheelers and get reprimanded by Rita there. I think that's the first time I'd met her. But also, one of the people in the class happened to be the person from the university where the Missouri Safety Center is, who ran the print shop. So we started talking to him, an interesting idea. Well, can you print us up some posters? And then at the next Motorcycle Advisory Committee meeting, we got a hold of the person from the Missouri Department of Motor Vehicles. And we said, hey, if we get these posters up, can you help us get these in the DMV offices? And of course, she was very receptive to that. So using, working with Michael, working with the people at the print shop there, the people with the DMV, we're able to get these printed up. We then spreadsheeted out where all the DMV offices were, where all the training sites were. And then the posters were distributed out to rider coaches in those areas so they could get them into their local DMV offices. Thought that was one way of doing it. People are in there at the office renewing their permit. Why not take a class? Matter of fact, here's an example of the poster that we hang up at the DMV offices. Once again, this was an idea that I don't know, this was Michael or his staff came up with this sign here, which was a great poster we've used a lot in a lot of different cases here. So that was the sign we used at the DMV office. One of the things we did at the insurance companies, we made up a brochure holder, but rather than having just the brochures by themselves, we printed it on a 12 by 11 piece of paper. We mounted it on a foam board, stuck an easel back on it. And in this black area here, that's where we put stuck on a little pocket that held the class brochures. So we had the sign here, we had the class brochures alongside it. So we've done that not only here, but we've also done that at some of the dealerships where we used the sign very similar to this, where we use that seat in the class, where we use this sign here, shrunk it down, put it on here with the brochure holder alongside it. So basically that's all I have for the outreach part. I don't know, do you guys have some other ideas or some other outreach areas where we could go to? These are things outside of the classroom or outside of events.
John, I have a couple of things if you can hear me okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
You had asked about the posters and whether it was me or the staff. I had come up with the general idea of the "We've saved you a seat," but I think actually you get the credit for the image, if I remember right. You came up with the TU and all that. Do I remember that right?
Well, the original one had a picture of a Harley on it. So what we did is we made several different versions of this where we took training bikes here at St. Louis Community College, we use the TU, so we put the TU image in there. At the Yamaha dealer, we have a Yamaha TW200 on there. We've also taken the same thing and put a scooter in there and changed the wording around to the scooter. But I think it was a great idea. We just took your idea and ran with it a bit here.
Absolutely. And one of the other things that I kind of hit on accidentally in Missouri that was I still use years later is because we were at the University of Central Missouri, and there's lots of different programs. I mean, Oregon is based out of OSU. There's lots of programs that either have affiliations or partnerships with colleges. And I've started getting, for the last several years, anytime I'm somewhere new, I go to the local community colleges and four-year colleges, and I go to the marketing departments and speak to the marketing professors, because almost without fail, I have almost 100% success rate in getting a marketing student who has to do an internship for their senior project. And they work for free. I'm willing to compensate them, but they work for free quite often because they get it for a grade. And so sometimes they can't even accept compensation even if they want to, but we'll buy them lunch or give them a gift card or something like that. But that's just to let anybody know that if you're not tapping into your local college student body, because they may be needing something that you can offer them, which is practical experience outside of the classroom. So the current, well, maybe the current one, I'd have to, I don't want to step on Ray's toes if they've got other things in the works, but I believe the current MMSP logo was developed by a student intern in marketing at UCM while I was there. And she got an A for the project because she needed to find a practical project to work on to promote and market her skills. And she had some experience with that kind of software too, so it helped. But that's something that I'll use forever, is reaching out to the colleges and trying to coordinate. We also, separate from that, one of the projects that I did in Washington was, because so many ranges are at community colleges and universities, if, you know, most of us will buy on a budget containers and places to store the motorcycles and our supplies. So any college or university or community college, or especially a technical college that has an art department or some kind of a program like that, I've offered them up the container as an art project. And basically, as long as it's nothing offensive, that they have to stay a little conservative in their creativity. But basically, the agreement was I would supply the supplies and the paint, and they supply the labor, and they have almost free reign, and they do that for a grade. So there's lots of ways to improve the overall quality of your assets and your resources virtually for free, and help the community out and create more community awareness too.
Oh, Michael, those are some very good ideas. Of course, with the change in the guard, of course, we did have to change up the MMSP logo just slightly. We did put a state outline around it. We kept the same thing, but we put the Missouri state outline around it just to make a change.
You bet.
John, if I may, one other thing is, John has said before, I have been with John, and when Mike Davis was in charge of the program in the state, when we had started the motorcycle shows that went on at the convention center downtown, I was helping out down there getting everything set up, and that stuff worked out very well when we had the booths. And as John said, now that it's merged with the St. Louis Auto Show, hopefully even this coming year we can have that show, but time will tell if that's the case. But anyway, it has worked out to our advantage, where we got a lot of people that talk to us at these shows about motorcycles in general, as well as motorcycle safety.
Well, that show's typically held in January, so I don't think there's any plan for it this year. I've went out and looked, and I don't recall that I've seen anything that's saying if they're going to have it again, with the city of St. Louis being a little tighter on restrictions here for gatherings and whatnot. Yeah, I doubt it's going to happen.
Yeah, that could be true, but we can only hope and hope for the best and think positive. But there's always having it in 2022.
Oh, definitely. The only problem we ran into since they joined with the car show, one, we get a lot more people coming by, but I understand the prices have gone way up. When it first was a standalone motorcycle show, we were able to get a free 10x10 booth. Now they're now that we got the state involved, I think it's getting rather pricey from what Ray says. So I don't know if we can afford to be back there, but we'll see.
Yeah, I know that's what Ray said last year or so, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully we can get it done, if not next month, which I doubt will happen, but in 2022. And that's always worth going to, the motorcycle / auto show in this convention center here in St. Louis.
Sometimes when those shows and things, you know, the dollars start adding up, I try to think about it in my head. Hey, if I get one student out of this, or two, or whatever the cost breakdown is, it's paid for my day here. And even if you don't, it's some good PR and getting your face out there. So, you know, often it's a good deal, regardless.
In my hometown, we have a national night out. I think it's the first Tuesday in August. I don't know how national it is, but at least in our town and all the towns in the county, they put out, the police, the fire department, the women's club, you know, every club in town has a booth of some type, the Boy Scouts. And I would think they'd give you space for free as long as they had the space and you could put a display out there. National Night Out, anyone hear of that?
I've heard of the National Night Out, but I didn't realize they had booths and displays and whatnot. So that'd be something interesting to look into. One other thing I didn't mention while we're talking about outreach here is one of the things we've done. Jeff and I were one of the first ARC instructors in the state. And when we started out, we didn't have a lot of students taking the class. So the community college would want to cancel the classes because low enrollment. We'd convince them that we'll do the class for free as long as they'll keep the class going. And what we would do, we would offer the seats up to rider coaches, to range aides. We do use range aides at most of the ranges here in St. Louis area. We also would give them to the officers of the different motorcycle clubs. If they had a safety officer or a director or someone, we'd offer the class to them for free. They could come see what it's like and promote it to their organization. We actually, we're right on the border between Missouri and Illinois here in St. Louis. So we've had some people from the Illinois hog chapters come over and take classes. They take the ARC class 1 year, ultimate bike bonding another year, until the ARC became a free class in Illinois now. So we don't have that anymore, but still, that's another way. We're giving out the classes, getting the promotions going. So
Our state recently switched to offering the BRC2 as a license waiver class, and initially enrollment was very low. It's still fairly low, but you know, I run the classes even if they just have a handful of students in them, because I figure it's just advertising, you know, and even if they're not, you know, big profit leaders for now, I mean, the more people that take it, the more the word gets out. And just like the BRC, it's really a word of mouth kind of thing. So any kind of word of mouth you can generate is good.
in Missouri, there are very few private sites. Most of the sites are at community college, at dealerships, or at, there's a couple, like I said, a couple of private sites. So the community college is very picky about it. And so they have to watch it. We have to watch our expenses there. At the dealership, they're doing pretty well. So they'll kind of have a class if anybody shows up. We've been very fortunate with that.
One thing I'd like to add, John, this is Carol. When we do the motorcycle show, we promote not just one location. We promote all the locations in our area to help people find the one that is closest to them. So it's not just one specific site we're promoting. We'll even give them information on how to get in touch with the Illinois program.
You know, like Carol was saying, although Jeff is the coordinator for the community college here in town, Carol, Dennis, and I do classes at multiple sites. Matter of fact, at the, I don't know if I can, if you can see it here. It's kind of, but this one here is a map of the area, and it shows all the sites in the area. So we promote all the sites on the Missouri side of the river, but we also have another map where we promote the sites on the Illinois side of the river where the classes are free, and people are surprised to hear that. If they're an Illinois resident, they can take a class for free over there. And of course, I know you saw this earlier, Carol. I told them there you are. So what do you do for promoting classes in the classroom, though? What do you do there? Here's a picture of the wall in the classroom, just an example where we've got some posters up. This is the MSF Continuum Learning that shows all the classes. We modified the original version a little bit to drop off the classes that we didn't offer, which was the on-the-road course. We use all the parking lot classes over here. These are Smart Trainer videos. As a matter of fact, the Smart Trainer is just over a little bit in front of this. I don't know if you've probably seen the Cool Gear, Fool's Gear poster. Well, we took the helmet impact areas one, the study that was done with the German and English group, and the Dietmar Ada, I think was the fellow's name, who actually designed the helmet layout here and did that part of the study. We've taken it and kind of tried to color match it to that, but we also do some promotion of the classes as part of the wrap-up. We talk about them, but what are some of the things you do to promote classes, in the classroom?
I've had a lot of success with bundling. I think we've all had the experience of, at least every state that I'm familiar with and have worked in, where we tend to have single serving students. They show up, they take their endorsement class, they feel inoculated against risk because a trained professional has signed off on them, and then we never see them again. If I remember right, it's somewhere between 12 and 15% is the return rate for follow-up classes after they have their endorsement. But if you bundle classes in advance by offering a discount for both the BRC, say, and the BRC2, and have them prepay for it, not only do you get additional operating income, obviously you have to honor the commitment to offer the class later on. But that's one way to ensure, in a way, that they will at least have a vested interest and a little skin in the game so they come back. That also is possible with the Kickstart class for the true beginners. And I understand there may be some controversy with my suggesting that true beginners aren't welcome in the BRC. Obviously they are, but for those folks that might otherwise get counseled out because they feel like they can't keep up with the quote class full of experienced riders that they've been saddled with, offering a Kickstart, which you can use the IME, the Introductory Motorcycle Experience, leading into the BRC, following up with the BRC2. There's been a lot of success with that also.
We like the bundling idea. We talk to the people at the community college. They say, no way, can't handle it, can't do it. Especially if it would cross semesters. Oh my God, it was just,
Oh, right.
Yeah, not in our system, but yeah.
And what occurs to me is it possible with that constraint in mind? There's an extraordinary opportunity I've found at graduation time for people that wonder, okay, what now? Great. I've learned how to ride in a parking lot under semi-adult supervision. What now? I myself, and I think Lynn, aren't you still a one of the street rider course trainers, the on-street course?
Yes, that's right.
So, but there's really, I think there's only 4 of us in the country left anymore, but there is a point of sale opportunity, for lack of a better word, at graduation when people are riding the high of success, but they recognize on their own that this is just the beginning. And we can tell them this is the beginning of your training career and your class career. But if there's an opportunity for them to sign up on the spot, whether or not there's an incentive financially, discount or otherwise, striking while the iron's hot and while they're still basking in the glow of a successful course completion, is there an opportunity for that still honors the constraint that the school is putting on you?
Mm.
I don't know about the school, but I know at the dealership we do that, where we have the basic bike bonding. We try and promote that as a follow-on or an additional day of the BRC where they can get more information and help automate some of these skills, learn some more new things. The only sad part about that is, of course, at the dealership, we're independent contractors. We don't have any way on the weekends to try and sign them up right at that point and get them strike while the iron's hot, as you say.
Sure.
But a lot of good ideas, I think.
Something else that and I apologize for retreading a little bit, but on the booth idea, especially with economics starting to play a bigger part, either at the state level or the individual school level, I had a ton of success with partnering with other booth vendors. For example, whether it's law firms or insurance companies. I mean, frankly, let's be honest, the only thing less sexy than safety is insurance. So partnering with an insurance company, for example, or a local insurance company or rep that has a strong motorcycle book of business can help them too. So basically, if they provide the expense for the booth, but they share it, I've had a lot of success talking people into that because it gives them more asses in the seat, so to speak, because somebody may drift by and say, insurance, I don't care about that. But wait, what's this about these rider training classes? So finding somebody who's already going to invest in a booth and offering them a partnership for two reasons. One, there's an additional draw for people to come to their booth. And frankly, anybody that's spent 4 hours sitting at a booth without a bathroom break knows the advantage of having more bodies in the booth. So I would say if you decide you want to attend an event or you consistently do attend, get the attendance list and the vendor list of who's showing up and start smiling and dialing. That's not directed at the St. Louis team necessarily, but really anybody. That's what I would do if I wanted to maximize and give up my time. But the economics were a little harder to come by.
You know, in New York, the sites are all independent, but the program oversight has booth stuff. They've got a canopy, they've got displays and things. So, you know, anytime a site wants to do an event, all we have to do is call and say, hey, can I use the canopy and your posters and stuff? And, you know, we don't have to lay out for that.
At the motorcycle show here in town, the state would come bring the equipment. The only problem is they're 250 miles away across the state, and in January the weather may or may not be good enough, and we have had times where the weather has canceled them out. But I like the idea with the insurance companies. We have an insurance agent, matter of fact, in the St. Louis area who does a lot of motorcycle business, does a lot of things with motorcycle events, and is always at the not only the motorcycle show, but several other shows. So that's a good point. We'll have to look into that a little more, Carol.
Well, and
Yeah, and also we get giveaways from her too. She likes to give us side stand
the pucks.
bucks. Yes.
The other thing too is I can't even think of a single state that doesn't have an organization like Law Tigers or one of those folks that are usually very willing because they want to be associated with the safety aspect of rider education, that are very willing. And usually they have a pretty elaborate booth. I know in Colorado, they put on a huge show when it comes to even dealer-based events. They have a strong presence and a lot of people that they bring, and they bring their giant vans that are polished, and they have pretty strong booth attendance. The other thing is, don't forget about, I think in Colorado, one year we partnered with the Boating Safety Agency. So you are a school representing the government. Obviously, I have no authority even where I am, much less where you are, to suggest that you can overstep your bounds. But if you have anybody promoting boater safety, gun safety, anything like that, if it's an agency that serves the public, there seems to be a tailor-made partnership there, because I don't think it'd be stepping out of turn at all to drop the name of MoDOT or MMSP or the Missouri Safety Center or something like that, as my phone starts to ring off the hook with Ray Pierce going, what the hell are you doing? But I simply mean that if it's a state agency, again, the hook is they get extra support for their booth, and there's another reason for people to stick around their booth to find out more about the organizations that promote living to ride another day, living to boat another day, get home safely at the end of the day for your family. And they have funds usually that they have to exhaust, or they lose them for the next year.
You know, Michael, it won't be the first time Ray Pierce has wondered about what we're doing here, and it probably won't be the last. So,
Well, and obviously he's come up with some extraordinary ideas on his own with his 30 years of experience. So he's somebody I'd happily work with or for any day of the week. So nothing but high praise for how he's running the Missouri program. And I understand completely, obviously having worn his shoes, what the constraints might be. But there's lots of creative solutions, and certainly tapping into the resources that an agency has, even if it's not the specific agency MoDOT that's governing the rider training program. Everybody needs help. Everybody wants help with the booth. Everybody wants another reason for people to stick around their booth since they're giving up their weekend to hand out brochures. So I'm all about OPM, other people's money, especially when it's an agency that has to spend it anyway.
All right. Well, let's talk about some class follow-up things. We mentioned discounts on other classes. I know at the community college, they've gone and done an email blast to former students to promote upcoming advanced classes. I see Rita's gone to an hour. I don't know if she's still there or since she doesn't have the camera on, but she had mentioned in one of the Tribe Talk happy hours about students doing self-addressed letters or postcards or something that she could send out as a follow-up. I was hoping she could talk a little more about that.
Sure. The concept that I had talked about in happy hour was the idea of another learning tool for students that when they are done with class, have them write a letter to themselves that describes 3 cool things they learned in class or something that they want to remember, that something to remind themselves of 6 months down the road. Have them write that on a letter, put it in an envelope, seal it up, address it to themselves, and send it out. And what you can do with that is have them write that letter to themselves on the backside of a flyer that talks about other classes, so that when they open that envelope 6 months after they took the basic class, they see on one side the information that they wanted to remember, and it may remind them of some safety points that they may have forgotten in that 6 months. And on the other side, an advertisement for additional classes.
Have you been doing that very long, or do you have much success? Do you have any idea what the feedback is from that?
I haven't done it at all. I'm not in charge of any programs. I keep trying to sell it to other people. So hopefully I'll hear it from someone else who's doing it.
But your idea of printing the backside with other classes reminds me of one thing we do. When we do the Smart Trainer demos at an event, we give them a printout that shows, I don't know if you're familiar with the Smart Trainer, but the Smart Trainer has a printout that shows how they did throughout the course and gives them a grade. Well, we have pre-printed on the backside of that a brochure about the follow-on classes. So we've got that to hand to them. So is anyone else doing anything else as a way of a follow-up after classes? Anything to contact students or whatnot?
So this is Belinda from Alabama. I mean, I mostly just coach dealerships, but I know that we definitely do pictures and send those pictures to the students, and and then also of course the dealerships will post them, and we talk about how much fun they had and new riders and those kind of things, and just making sure we send that follow-up picture. And sorry, we're picking up food at the same time. But yeah, so I know definitely connecting and emailing the students as pictures and connecting with them that way has helped.
This is Steve. Something we always did and still do actually is a handwritten thank you note with one of the teacher's business cards in it. And in the basic course, that offered the opportunity for the next class. In the advanced classes, we typically offered a discount to take the next class in that handwritten note.
Is this something you mailed out to the students after the class?
Yes, we'd handwrite a thank you note for them coming to the class, and then we'd mail it out to their address they left on file with us.
All right. Well, a lot of good ideas there. So a lot of things we can possibly be doing.
There's a little tangent. you know, I ask my coaches to identify any students that they think might be potential rider coach candidates, you know, based on their attitude and interactions and riding abilities. And I just make a little footnote in the enrollment system about that. So, you know, in New York, you need to be licensed for a couple of years before you can be considered to be a coach. But I kind of have a little database going now that I can refer back to as I start soliciting coaches.
All right, good. I know someone has mentioned IMEs before. I don't know other places. I don't know if someone would do like a skills demonstration or whatnot. I know we talked about Ray likes to use the skid bike to show advanced technologies. The KTM that's on it allows you to turn the traction control and the ABS braking on and off. So it's a way you can actually demonstrate the differences when you're using that. Well, what else did we miss? Any other ideas? Any other things that people are doing to promote classes that didn't fall into one of those categories or hasn't been mentioned already?
John, one of the things you mentioned earlier on one of the slides you showed earlier at the end of the class, I think the picture was showing a class at the dealership where they had this bike there plus some posters on the wall, but one of the posters showed the levels of different classes that are available. One of the things I always do when I'm teaching, not only at the dealership, but at the community college, I mention all the upper level classes to all the students, those that have finished the BRC, recommending they at least consider taking the BRC 2 class 6 months to a year after getting some saddle time on their own bike, you know, 500 to 1,000 miles on their own bike, to maybe take a BRC 2 class, as well as the ARC class and the ultimate bike bonding. I always mention every one of the levels of classes. I try not to get into too much detail on them, mostly due to the fact I don't want to lose them talking with, you know, too much what we do in those classes.
One of the things that Jeff has done, the community college, one of the few things they'll do for us is they'll actually print up brochures. Well, we came up with a separate brochure that shows just the advanced classes. So we could put that even at other training sites that don't offer those classes. And that's one of the brochures that we have that students can take. And we also have that continuum of learning as part of the PowerPoint presentation as a wrap up. We also have one other unique. I'm sorry, go ahead, Lynn.
I was going to say another motorcycling event near to us is a fairly large motocross event. And we sometimes get a booth there because people that come in are interested in motorcycling, whether or not they're on street now. But we generally pass out a lot of information at that. And our colleges have kiosks in the local malls, the shopping malls. And we've put brochures and things at the campus kiosk.
There's some more ideas. We've had a unique opportunity here in Missouri. Michael, I don't know if you've heard about it, but we've done away with the helmet law here. Well, actually, we modified the helmet law last year here. If you're over 26, you have insurance, and you have a full endorsement, you can now legally ride without a helmet in Missouri. However, all the people who have been riding on permits, and we have a number of people who perpetually just keep renewing their permit year after year, that they can't do it. So if they want to get their helmet off, and a lot of those people who are riding under permits year after year are those guys who want to do this. We figured that's a new area. So here's our newest poster we came out with.
Jesus.
John, I like that poster big time, man.
And no, we're not really using it anywhere. I mean, this was just, I sent it to the state administrator to get his approval. Yeah.
Yeah, at least he's wearing the shoes, but not flip-flops. I've seen guys on motorcycles wearing shorts, t-shirts, and flip-flops with a full face helmet before.
Of course, that's obviously a made-up URL down at the bottom there.
Probably. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying with that URL.
I
Well,
wanted
that's
to chime in here. There was something Dennis said that I liked a lot about not getting too in detail with the material for anything past the BRC. But there's also the flip side to that, which is if a student is continuously curious about what they might get out of that, being able to let them know it's not what you do, it's where and how you do it. I think that speaks volume to the marketing side of getting people to sign up. If they want to know how to fine tune a particular technique, or they want to learn more about a particular kind of riding, you can't necessarily just judge the kind of bike a person's going to get or what kind of riding they intend to do. They may have some insight as to precisely what they're after. They're there for themselves anyhow. So if they ask about a particular riding opportunity or a way to ride it, it could go anywhere from the slow maneuvers, competitions, to stunting, to if they wanted to get their race license. It doesn't really matter. If we're able to give them some information about where they can gather more on that, then we're doing them that very service that we're talking about to begin with. Am I wrong?
Robin, you posted a link in the chat. Do you want to say something about that? And I'll just, while I'm talking, just call people's attention to, there's a couple of other good links posted in the chat. The first one is one that I put up that was a great list of resources that John provided relative to what he's talking about. And then Robin, you posted a link, and Rita put up her link to the Wisconsin video promoting their motorcycle safety stuff, which is awesome. So tell us what the link you posted is, Robin.
Okay, the link I posted was to support somebody else's comments. I just looked up the information and then posted it. Then I had to reboot my computer, so I have no idea what you're talking about, but sort of do.
Okay, well, thank you.
I think it was a police and society interaction.
National Night Out.
Yeah.
It was for National Night Out. And Wisconsin has, their outreach program has worked several national nights out every year.
I'd also like to get anybody respond to me about this idea that, if you get a curious student and you want to point them in the right direction about a class, should you not give them just a taste of what they might get out of that based on the mindset that you detect or you feel coming off of that particular student? Well, okay then.
Well, to be honest with you, Robin, if they're going to sit around, if they're going to hang around and ask those questions, I'm sure as hell going to hang around and answer them to the best of my ability.
Yeah, so I guess it could be kind of a twofold thing where it's like, if you're trying to push the class, I don't mean push like, just get it out there and then walk away from the chatter. If you want to push the concept of the class, you can mention what they are. If they ask you questions specifically about it, or they mention what kind of writing they want to do, then you might want to elaborate on where they might find that information.
One of the things that one of our regional centers up here does to help promote classes and kind of further awareness of motorcycle safety is they have a Facebook group for any graduates of the class. They get sent an invitation to join the Facebook group with other basic level riders. That way they can group up and maybe ride with other riders in the area, talk about class information, or if they have questions, instructors are part of that group as well. They might be able to answer those questions for the students, encourage them to take other classes. And one of our regions has been doing that, and they've got something like on the order of like 5,000 or 6,000 people in their group. And then one of the other regions in the state of Illinois has also started to do that. So it's really been beneficial.
So Robin, this is Belinda. What I've done is, since I teach a lot of level 1 class, there's that one spot when we in one of the sections. I can't put my finger on it right now, but the swerving, and they have the two different kinds of swerving in a curve, those kind of things, and I dropped and say, man, we're going to do swerving on a straight line in this class, but this other part, you get to come and take another fun class, or you kind of drop that hint. And then what I've started doing is at the end of the classroom portion, I will pull up the website for the University of Montebello, where our safety program is. And like I said, I'm usually at a dealership when and I will pull up, walk them through how to get onto that website, show them exactly the step-by-step to get through to register, and say, this is where you're going to check your dates. When you get the experience, you get so many, whatever, you feel comfortable and you want to do this is where you're going to go and check it. And I literally walk them through where to go and look for it. And it just goes in and gives them an opportunity to look it up.
That's pretty brilliant. I could actually have just a card on hand to remember that information in case I needed to access it quickly. I think in Illinois, you're going to run into a illinois.gov/motorcycle safety 2014 / something, and it could get kind of hairy, but if I have it on my person, I can probably
Hey, Robin?
check it out. Yes, sir.
Robin, the URL is startseeingmotorcycles.org. That's the Illinois program.
Well, isn't that convenient? Thanks a lot there.
Startseeingmotorcycles.org.
Let me write that down. I need to find a pen. Thank you, sir.
Robin, in Southern Illinois, they have business cards that have the QR code on there, so you just snap it with your smartphone and you go right to it without having to worry about a URL.
Well, I have to learn how to write in QR code. I didn't take the class yet. I got to figure that out. So, no, I like it. That's pretty good.
Yeah, every one of my business cards has the QR code on it too.
I think one year we had the school, the T-shirts that they gave the instructors had the QR code printed right on the T-shirt.
All right, thanks, John, very much. That I think is really some useful stuff. I know I took a bunch of notes and have some good ideas floating around in my head. In the interest of time, I know Don had some other stuff that he wanted to share with us. One of the things was a 3-minute thesis. And if you have been here before or been in happy hour, you've heard us talk about the 3-minute thesis. If you have not heard of that, I would encourage you to go to the RiderChoices website and check that out. He's always looking for good 3-minute theses, and I know eventually we're going to get to the point where we're all going to be have a 3-minute thesis demanded of us. So if you're not thinking about one or working on one already, do that before we all get in trouble with Don. I'm going to go ahead and put up a poll since it is Sunday, and hopefully this doesn't send my computer up the bomb. Here we go. Can you see it?
I'm afraid so.
So number 1, experience and conclusion is a method that refers to A, setting up and tearing down range exercises, B, the BRC knowledge test having only 3 possible answers, C, the sequence for shifting a motorcycle, D, the steps for rider coach demonstrations in all rider courses, or E, the basic template for level 2 classroom. And question number 2 is the Rider Coach Guide tab that best provides content for Rider Coach professional development is tab 4, instructional plan, tab 6, classroom lessons, tab 7, range exercises, or tab 5, teaching the BRC, or all the tabs. I'll give you a few minutes to ponder that. There's no prizes, sorry.
So much pressure.
Okay, last call for your votes. And the answer is, experience and conclusion is a method that refers to the basic template for level 2 classroom. 91% of you got that correct. And
I hate this game
you do? Why?
because I always get at least all of them wrong.
At least all 2 of them. The Rider Coach Guide tab that best provides content for Rider Coach professional development is all the tabs. All the tabs, all the tabs. Thank you very much, friends. Nicely done. 73% of you got that one correct. Anyone want to argue about it? We'll fight out in the parking lot later. Okay, let's see if I can do this now without having sent my computer up the bomb. Just to kind of wrap up, we always are trying to build the tribe, and I know that I probably speak for everyone who makes an appearance here with any once in a while or regularity that there's just so much to learn from each other. So I am always trying to encourage others to participate, and hopefully you all are doing that as well. If you have any ideas for future topics, let Don know or bounce it off any of your colleagues, and consider participating in a presentation capacity at some point. So volunteer to host or present. Help develop the platform by asking other rider coaches to participate, and be motivated to mentor or be mentored. I think that's kind of what we all do here, and I really appreciate that. And I'm always thrilled to have the wisdom of the tribe here to absorb from. Okay, so just to wrap up, we talked about John's great presentation, promoting motorcycle safety courses. Thank you again, John. That was awesome. 3-minute thesis, which I skipped, and Don will probably send me a nastygram, but I think he'll probably have that up on the RiderChoices website, and or we will see that at some later date. The weekly poll. Next Tribe Talk is on the calendar for January 24th, 2021. So mark your calendars for that. And in the meantime, we will continue to hopefully meet every Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern. And you know, I love you all too. And I'm not even gonna say don't take that the wrong way, because I really do appreciate being here with you all. And just like I said, having some intelligent conversation and
Ron
wisdom.
fell asleep.
Ron fell asleep again.
Yeah, I thought you were sleeping there a minute, Ron.
Knock it off. I'm still awake, Dennis.
So that concludes Tribe Talk for December 27th, and thank you for your patience with my slight technological handicaps here and there.
All right, Laura, thank you for your help. John, same to you. Thank you for your input on tonight's information. Everybody have a good evening.
Yeah, good night,
Stay safe and
everybody.
healthy. Happy New Year. See you
if we
next
don't
time.
see ya.